Hello and welcome to episode number 36 of No Whining. We're finishing out our 6th wine list today, and we are going to start this episode with this. A 2023 Bodegas Muga Blanco. This is around $25 for this bottle of wine, and it is coming from the Rioja Alta in the upper Ebro region of Spain. This blend is 70% Viura, it is 20% Malvasia, and 10% Garnacha Blanca. And when you hear people refer to either a White Rioja or a Rioja Blanco, they're pointing to white wines that are made principally from Viura. Okay, here's some information from the tech sheet. These vines are grown in calcareous, clay, and alluvial soils. Traditional Riojan viticulture that is sustainable and organic, but not certified. Now, this is actually something that you're going to see this type of language a lot in the wine world because there's so much of this where you've got winemakers and these vineyards, they're committed to sustainable and organic viticulture and farming practices, but they're not going to go through all the trouble and the hoops and the massive expense of getting the actual certifications themselves. All right, it also says a blend of Goblet train and vineyards planted on high density trellises of Rioja's most classic white varieties. The vineyards are not irrigated and are farmed without the use of harmful chemically synthesized fungicides, pesticides, or herbicides. And then it goes on to talk about the winemaking. It says 8-hour maceration in a pneumatic press, followed by fermentation, inoculated with neutral yeast, in 60% new French oak barriques and large upright vats. The barrels are all coopered from French oak trees that are selected by the family every February. Aging is 5 months sur lie, or on the lees, which basically means, again, the now dead yeast cells that are decomposing. But what that does is it adds, especially in traditional sparkling wine, something like champagne, because it's on the lees for a really long time, some incredible flavors that you wouldn't get otherwise. Even though it kind of sounds gross, it actually makes the wine pretty delicious. But it can also add additional texture and make it much more interesting. Like, it's just a better mouthfeel a lot of times. Instead of something that's just kind of thin and flat on the palate, it gives it a little bit of a bump, if you will. Okay, so aging is 5 months sur lie with batonnage and fermentation vessel. Batonnage is taking it one step further with the lees aging and resting on the lees, and it's basically reaching into the barrels and kind of stirring up the lees, right? These dead yeast cells to kind of further and enhance that effect that we just talked about. All right, let's get into this wine, ladies and gentlemen. This wine is clear. It's a medium lemon color and looks like it has about medium viscosity on the sides of the glass. And you know the drill, ladies and gentlemen, schnoz before jaws. Let's go. This wine is clean. It's developing a little bit. It's got, I would say, medium plus intensity aromas starting out kind of on the citrus spectrum with a little bit of lemon. Getting some apple, a little bit of tangerine, some white peach, even a little bit of quince. Doesn't have a ton in the floral side, but there is some orange blossom coming through. And it also has just a little bit of kind of notes of sourdough. And again, that would harken back to the lees aging and the batonnage. That's where that flavor would come from in this wine. There's some hints in here of lemongrass, a little bit of tarragon also. Okay, finishing out, got some cardamom in here, even a little bit of like faint mushroom and some toasted almonds. That's going to do it for the schnoz. Time to send it to the jaws. This wine is dry. It's got a medium body on it, medium alcohol as well, and medium plus acidity. It's also got medium plus intensity flavors on it. It's also got this soft kind of like round texture to it, and actually quite a long finish. So that would put this in the outstanding category from a quality standpoint, just objectively speaking. This wine, I do think that it's great to drink right now. I think with a little bit more age on it, we would get some more of those tertiary aromas, like that nutty type, like mushroom quality would come to the forefront a little bit more. And I think that would be actually nice. So I would say age this a couple more years, but this has been a great wine to start with. Let's go to wine number 2. This is a 2022 Bergstrom Cumberland Reserve Pinot Noir. This is around $50, and this is coming from the Willamette Valley AVA. along the Oregon coast. This is just south of Portland, starts stretching south from there, and is most famous for its excellent Pinot Noir, so I'm excited about this. Along with making other cool climate varieties like Riesling, Chardonnay, Pinot Gris. Something very worthy of note here is that the Willamette Valley is essentially on the exact same latitude line as Bordeaux in France. Now, we just got through talking about the fact that the Willamette Valley produces wines, brilliant wines made from these cool climate varieties, things like, Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, Pinot Gris, etc., etc. But over in Bordeaux, at the exact same latitude, the varieties they're known for are Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Petit Verdot, these varieties that need quite a bit more heat. So why is this? Especially if they're on the same latitude. Well, it's not all just about that. There's so many factors at play, but the principal factor here that's creating these differences is the ocean currents. So the Willamette Valley in the Pacific Northwest, right, you've got that really cool Pacific current coming down from the north. Then over in Bordeaux, you've got the Gulf Stream current coming up and warming that coast of France. And so you wind up with a situation where you've got these two places, they both produce excellent wines, but they actually have very different grapes that are going to thrive there. All right, here's some information from their website. It says, after spring frost challenges that resulted in significant yield reduction, yikes, the 2022 vintage release is a testament to the resilience of the Willamette Valley. A serendipitous course to a triumphant harvest yielded a limited yet precious vintage of intensely colored, romantic, youthfully enticing Pinot Noir with structured acidity and minerality, heightened concentration, and coiled complexity that, with time, will unfurl to reveal veiled layers of depth. From the inception of our vineyards in 1999, our estates have been farmed without the use of herbicides, pesticides, insecticides, or systemic chemicals. We also prefer composting and treating with homeopathic, herbal, and mineral teas rather than using synthetic fertilizers. So essentially, this is a biodynamic vineyard, is what they're pointing to, and wine. On one end of the spectrum, you've got industrialized farming, which is more like the rape of the natural world, and on the polar opposite side of the spectrum, you've got biodynamic farming, which is more like the dirt-worshipping woo-woo type thing. I mean, I'm talking burying different preparations inside of bladders of animals in the vineyard itself, or cow dung inside of a cow horn and burying that in the vineyard over, I think it is winter, burying things in animal skulls, right? So like, it's very interesting that way. That being said, you can't argue with the results of some of the wines that come from biodynamic. What I really want to point out here, though, is between these two sort of extremes, you've got organic farming in the middle, and it's become much more appreciated, much more mainstream, but still a vast majority of the vineyards in the world, I think there's only like 6% in the world that are certified organic. Now, our previous wine, like I mentioned, there's more places that practice organic than are actually certified organic, so it's probably definitely north of 10% in reality. Okay, moving on. These folks don't fine or filter their wines, and Bergstrom is known for their use of whole cluster fermentation along with, crushed grapes, right? So whole cluster fermentation, it's the important thing for us to know is that it's not the most broadly used. It's not the most traditional type of fermentation. It's taking a traditional fermentation, but then adding in whole clusters of grapes. And as it gets kind of pushed beneath the surface, that lack of oxygen forces the clusters of grapes that they put in there to undergo intracellular fermentation. So they start actually fermenting alcohol inside of the cells. And what this can lead to, and is thought to lead to, is these much fresher fruit flavors that are just kind of like nice and bright, and then nice, soft, kind of silky texture. So that's what we might see from something like that. Now let's get into our second wine. All right, this is a clear, pale, ruby colored wine. I got medium viscosity. It looks like there on the glass. Let's send it to the schnoz. This wine is clean, it's developing, it's got pronounced aromas starting out with fresh strawberry, bright, ripe red cherry, some candied raspberry, fresh red plum, some black cherry in here as well, and then a little bit of prune, some developing fruit. Violet, vanilla, a little bit of licorice. Gosh, this just keeps going. Pine, got some clove, a little bit of lemongrass even. Then truffle, toffee, and rounding it out with a little bit of cut hay. Okay, that's what's on the nose. Let's send it to the palate. This wine is dry with a medium body, medium alcohol. Does have high acid, which is, you know, to be expected with this variety. And then it's got these nice kind of, I would say, medium level, fine-grained tannins. There's pronounced flavors on this wine, just lovely, lovely. And the finish, it's just like, it's definitely a long finish. This also, objectively speaking, is an outstanding wine. Subjectively, I really enjoy this. I really, really do. It's drinking beautifully right now. You could bottle age it a little bit longer if you wanted some more of those tertiary aromas and flavors to come through. But my favorite thing about this wine is it's got these really pure, kind of clean, beautifully integrated flavors and the structural components. Like, this is really nice. So let's bring both of these in and pick a winner. These are both lovely wines, like we stated. So which one do we pick? Curious which one you like the most. I am gonna have to give the edge and the win to the Pinot Noir. This was just so, so, so lovely. But that's not to take anything away from this White Rioja, which was also lovely. Two phenomenal wines today. So I should pat myself on the back for this. Also, before we wrap up, make sure you check out the links in the description. Included some videos there to different vineyards or the different areas that these wines are made in. Also, we need to crown our winners and our runners-up from the last 12 wines and the last 6 episodes of No Whining, so let's get to it. Starting out with the runner-up for the white wines was this La Postale Chardonnay. This was only an episode or 2 ago, and I just really enjoyed this. I thought this was a tremendous wine, tremendous value. Like, I mean, for the price, this was amazing, amazing quality. Okay, so that is the runner-up. And then the winner, I'm going to go with this Poggio Anima, this Grillo from Sicily. This was fan-flippin-tastic. Also very inexpensive wine, but amazing, right? Like, very drinkable, well put together. So I love this wine. I hope you did too. Let's go to the reds. You know what? I am going to go to this Cumberland Reserve Pinot Noir from today. I just thought this was absolutely tremendous. So I cannot go without mentioning this. I am giving this the runner-up in the reds from wine list number 6. And our grand numero uno from the reds is this 2019 Archaico from Tuscan Soul. This was that incredibly rare grape variety where my friend gave this to me, and I was just taken aback by it. I thought it was excellent, had marvelous complexity, great integration. It was flavorful, pronounced aromas, pronounced flavors, all the things that you want, nice long finish. This was delightful. So I hope you enjoyed this wine, and I hope you enjoyed this entire wine list number 6. I will see you back here in episode number 37 and wine list 7.